I'm going to be talking about two things today that on the surface might not seem like there's any connection, but there is. So, what are the two things? The two things are me making the horrendous mistake of buying this thing, well, getting a plan with that thing. And this thing is an iPhone 16 Pro, the middle of the three. There's the iPhone 16, just regular, the Pro, and then the Pro Max. I hate this phone. I have never disliked a piece of technology so much as I dislike this phone. Before this phone, I had a Android platform, OnePlus 7T. Let's see if I can find it. OnePlus is the brand name. 7T, I think, is the phone I had. Yeah, this guy right here. And it was great. It worked. It did all the things that I wanted it to. It had no problems. I think there... No, I don't think so. I was going to say I think there was a crack in it. There wasn't. I'm pretty sure. I think I got rid of my previous phone, a different OnePlus something, OnePlus 5, I think, because I had cracked it. So I ended up getting that one. Or it was a Google Pixel or something. I don't remember. Whatever. I've had Android phones for a while now. I think the last iPhone that I had was the iPhone 4S, which was a long time ago. And it was fine, I guess. I don't know. It's been so long. I don't remember what my experience was. But I don't remember hating, truly despising with a deep, deep rooted passion a piece of technology as much as I dislike using this phone. And you might go, my goodness, Del, that sounds kind of hyperbolic. How could you dislike a phone that much? Before I get into that, I made this post. I said, I made the horrible mistake of switching from Android OnePlus 7 to an iPhone 16 Pro. I hate this phone. I have never disliked a piece of technology so much. I will never buy another iPhone. And Bitcoin theologian said, good God, what happened to have caused such a blunder? I said, I'll make a video. Here we are. I've always had an iPhone, so I don't even know what an Android experience is like. What makes you prefer the Android to iOS? Well, I'll explain. Me too. I feel the same about Android. I'm not sure if that means it went the other way, I guess. I'm not sure. Here are some of the problems that I have with it. And I can summarize my problem by saying one thing. I get the impression that either through deliberate design or through happenstance, the phone's user interface is muddy and cloudy to get people to use the phone more. It gets in your way a lot. I'm talking about just simple things, like if I press the power button to get it to do anything, like to unlock it, there's a pause. It's minimal, but there's just a slight pause. That was never the case on any Android phone. I remember tapping the phone, double tapping the screen, or pressing the power button, and it was just on, just there. Not so with the iPhone. I had an infuriating experience today where I saw I think it's the brand new Toyota Supra, and holy crap, that's a cool looking car. Let's see, 2024 Supra. I guess, yeah, it was this. But it was in all black, and it was in downtown Seattle. It was really cool looking. Let's see if I can get a full image. An image in Newtown. Oh, okay, that's tiny. That's no good. It looked really cool. I was trying to take a picture of it. I wanted to show some friends, and wouldn't unlock. When the dedicated fucking camera button wouldn't open the camera. It went black for a moment. The damn phone gets in my way so much. So I have a few notes here. On off is slow. You turn it off. Same thing. There's this lag. It's a noticeable. It's like a half, maybe quarter second, but it's noticeable. It's like, well, why are you pausing to do what I've told you to do? Typing is awful. It is so bad. You have to backspace and retype the word or say, yes, this is the fucking word that I want to say. I want to say fuck, not duck, you stupid piece of shit. I don't know if there's a way to set words in the iPhone keyboard, the Apple one. Haven't seen that as an option. Maybe there is. I don't know. It's probably buried in the settings somewhere and you have to go dicking around. It's not easy. You got to go find some guide online. You cannot take your finger and tap somewhere in a word to change a letter. If you have a typo, no, you can't do that. You have to erase the whole word, start over, or press and hold for a noticeable span of time, and then try and move the cursor in there. There's no tapping to put the cursor in the middle of a word. It's either the beginning or the end. No center of a word. Again, it could be a setting. I don't know where it is. I don't care to go and look. I shouldn't have to have all these settings to change, do all this stuff. I don't know why I got the iPhone. I think part of the reason was that I was thinking that Apple was super privacy focused, and apparently they're not. Apparently the camera is always on. It's constantly listening to you, just constantly recording you to help with their AI. The volume changes on the phone for no reason. Speaking of volume, on my OnePlus, there was 4 bars for volume. I could have independent volume controls. I did have independent volume controls, and I messed with them almost daily because, like, okay, I want my alarm really loud. I want the notifications, ringtones, and stuff like that medium, low, like a 3 out of 10. I want to hear it, but I don't want it. I don't want it to be blaring. Media volume, I want to be medium because I'm listening to some music or a podcast or something. And I think there was one other one, like maybe it was just 3, but there was separate things for all of those. Not so with the iPhone. There's volume, just volume. So if you want your alarms loud, well, if you get a notification in the middle of the night, that's going to be really fucking loud too. Now there is a way to separate those two things, notifications, from everything else. But now that means that if I want to listen to a podcast, then other things are going to be really loud. It's so bad. It's so bad. If I'm typing and then I press the button to do voice dictation, there's a little sound notification. It goes bloop to tell you that you're using voice. There's just a little feedback there. Well, that will change the volume and it will be suddenly really loud. It's so whack. It doesn't make sense. It's an operating system from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't understand why it's so bad. If you go and turn off Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, it says off until tomorrow. Why can't I just have it off? Why is it off until tomorrow? Why are you going to come back on automatically? I just want it off. I don't want this on. There's no reason I want Bluetooth on until I want to turn it back on. Why are you just going to come back on automatically? For what reason? If I want Wi-Fi off because I don't want it to connect for some reason, I just don't want to. I don't want it trying to connect to different server or different networks. Why are you turning back on? Oh, just because. Again, maybe there's a setting. Maybe some Android, or I should say iPhone Pro out there is like, well, you just have to go into the setting and do this and do blah, 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 blah. I shouldn't have to do that. If I turn something off, it should fucking stay off until I turn it back on. Why is it automatically coming back on? Because Apple knows better? Because its user base is a bunch of idiots that, well, I didn't know I was off Wi-Fi. Maps, the Apple Maps, I will say I do like once it's actually giving you directions. It's pretty good. I like that. But getting to the point of giving you directions or anything other than just the actual you're driving and you're going somewhere and it's actively giving you directions, trash. With Google Maps, you type in, for example, McDonald's. You see one, get directions. And there you go. It's mapped it out. It's multiple steps. You've got to type in McDonald's. You got to select the McDonald's. You got to say that you want to do this. And then you have to say, yes, now I want to go with this route. It's just multiple steps. To scroll down, let me show you on Apple Maps here. Let's see here. Maps. Can I do this without showing you where I live? McDonald's. let's just pick one that's kind of far away. This one. I'll change my location to, sure, the Costco. We'll go, or yeah, we'll do this. Okay. Well, that's okay. That's not. Okay, yeah, here we go. What? It's not gonna. What I'm trying to do is show you that when I am scrolling up, is there anything I don't want you to see on here? No, this is unclear enough. Okay, it's hit and miss. I don't know. Fuck, stupid thing. Oh, there's all these swipe gestures. So there was buttons on the bottom of my iPhone. They weren't tactile buttons, but they were buttons. So I had a back button, and on the iPhone, it's all these swipe gestures. You got to do 2 fingers this, and 3.5 fingers this way, and a fingernail flick that way. It's awful. I hate it. And voice dictation is worse. I don't know why I switched to the iPhone, but the main reason, I guess, I think, was why not? Let's see how if it's any better, if it's any different. It's not better. It's drastically worse. Now, what does this have to do with taking profit from Bitcoin? Well, a question that I have wondered multiple times is, when do I use some of my savings? Now, despite what this was amusing, this happened. This ding dong things over here. This guy says, I thought being rich was supposed to be fun. It's irritating seeing how obvious stupid people engage in self-sabotaging behavior. And I said, why? Let them do them. If they're stupid, what they do, I meant to say here, shouldn't bother you at all. You a no coiner. You obviously have no idea who I am. I'm good with that. And this person, that guy who said, like, oh, you do you, king, or something like that. I was like, oh, okay. This guy said, I must agree with Delupera. The bee does not waste. I'm not whatever. The point I'm saying, the reason I'm mentioning this is that if somebody's rich, who are you to say it's self-sabotaging? Unless, I guess, you're doing something that's actually damaging, like heroin or something, or drinking yourself into a stupor. But something I have wondered is, okay, let's say that Bitcoin goes up drastically. At some point, there's some price where I'm going to go, okay, this could have a substantial impact on my life by selling some, or maybe at that point there's Bitcoin-backed collateralized loans, some option to use my Bitcoin in some way that would change my life in a drastically beneficial way. Do I look that gift horse in the mouth and go, nah? Do my wife and I go, we now have the opportunity to purchase a home, but let's not do that? Well, why not? Well, why not? And somebody might say, well, because you're sacrificing generational wealth. That money that you put into that house, you'll never get that Bitcoin back. And 10 years down the road, it could be worth 10 times as much. Okay, yeah, but those 10 years that I'm not in a place that I like, if I'm in a ho-hum or even not great living environment, and I could have changed that seems worth it to me. And I don't know what that point is. I don't expect to get an answer from you. I don't expect to find an answer on this, because I've thought about it a lot, and I don't know. I don't know. Because as it stands, Bitcoin has gone up a decent amount since I first got in. It's not, I wouldn't say it has reached the point where it's made me go, whoa, I could do some serious life-changing stuff right now. I don't have enough for that. I certainly don't have enough to buy a home, but I'm seeing the trajectory. And I hear Checkmate talk about this, and he's saying that you can see these holders, that you can see that they got in, like these new addresses were created around the $200 range, and it's gone up to 70,000 is when I heard him talking about this. And you can see them selling some of these coins because they're going, okay, I bought in at 200 and now it's 70,000. I can do some really interesting things and fun things or rewarding things with this now. And if you bought, I don't know what the math is on it, but $10,000 worth when it was in the $200 range, what is that, 5 coins per 1,000, so 5, that's 50 coins. So if you got 50 times 70,000, or I guess at this point 50 times 100,000, that's $5 million. That, did I do that math right? Let's see. Calculator. 10,000 divided by 200 equals 50. I got that part right. Times 100,000 equals, 5 million. Okay. So if you're looking at that and go, wow, okay, I could sell $1 million worth and get myself the home and the land and the place that I've always dreamt of in the state that I call home, in the middle of Wyoming or something. I can do this. Like this is, and I would still have $4 million worth of Bitcoin left. Yeah, I've lost that, but I can't live in my Bitcoin. I can't experience nature and life and go on a cruise in Bitcoin. It's a savings account. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know, because there very likely is going to come a day in the, it seems like, not so distant future where I'm looking at how much I'm making at my day job and seeing the amount that Bitcoin is fluctuating in a day or a week and going, this thing now in the mid to upper 6-digit range is fluctuating more than I make in a year. Should I still be doing this? Like, for example, let's say Bitcoin went up to, let's say $1 million within 2025. I don't know how likely that is, but let's just say it did. Let's say that the U.S. takes Saylor's advice, sells a massive amount, if not all of its gold, dumps that onto Bitcoin, buys a quarter of the supply, drives the price up to, I guess it would probably go up higher than that, but let's say $1 million in other nation states. But so this happens. Okay. Now I'm looking at this thing and going, okay, what do I do here? Because something else that I've heard people talk about is doing the whole buy, borrow, die strategy. And I don't know if that's the correct strategy. It does seem like there are some advantages to it. But being debt-free also seems like it has some advantages. I kind of like the idea of trading my time and energy, this thing that I've got, that I earned, that I worked for, giving it to somebody and getting the thing that I wanted. And then we're done. That's it. We go our ways. You, sir, take the Bitcoin that I gave you, or the USD that I sold, or that I got for selling the Bitcoin, and you go and do your 10-year world cruise that hits every port across the globe, whatever it is that you want to do. I don't care. But I now have this home, this land that I can enjoy. And will I, like some of these people I see on Twitter and read about, like, oh, I sold my home and I bought Bitcoin, or I sold the Bitcoin and bought a home, and then I sold the home again to buy more Bitcoin. And when I first did, will I be one of them? I don't know. My mindset when it comes to getting a home is not to get a starter home and build equity and do all that stupid nonsense that people talk about or had talked about. I don't know how much it's talked about now. In the Bitcoin circle, it's certainly frowned on because it's just buy Bitcoin. So I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in starting in a 2-bedroom rambler, a 1-bedroom, 1-bath rambler, and then upgrade down the road because you bought it for 150,000 and then it went up to 300,000. No, it didn't. The dollar just went down in value. You dinguses. I'm more interested in either trading Bitcoin straight across or selling it for the USD so I can buy the home, and then that being the home, that being where I live and where I die. Unless some crazy thing happens. Like, let's say I purchased the home in a state that had all the laws and regulations and everything that I loved. It was all great. Like, this is home. I've done thousands, maybe not thousands, but hundreds of hours of research. It seems like if I was going to buy a home, I would do a lot of research. I visited the home. I've had an inspector. I've had multiple general contractors come look over the home. Is there anything that you know? Well, other than this should be repaired, but this is a well sound home. Everything is just all good. This is the place. And then 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, the political landscape in that state has completely changed. And what I thought was the mindset and the type of people surrounding me in that place, it just completely flips. Like, let's say the Utah way of living goes to California levels of difference, or Utah to Massachusetts or New York, that kind of thing. I don't see that happening, but let's say that's what happened. I went to somewhere outside of Salt Lake City, and Utah isn't really high on my list. It's higher than other states, but it's not like number one on my list. And then I get out there, and then this happens. Then what do I do? I don't know. Then I guess I sell. But that's so far down the road into the future, that Bitcoin is so much higher than I could sell that. And then, the home that I bought for 1 Bitcoin or half of a Bitcoin is now worth a small fraction of that. I don't know. This is a question I'm asking because I don't have an answer to it. I don't know. I guess the answer is, well, you got to do what's right for you. I think that's the answer, is that you look at it as best you can and you make the choice that you think is best for you and those around you and those that you love. And so if you think that this home is going to improve your life in a noticeable and immediate and substantial way, then yeah, it does seem as though trading some of your time and energy that you've put into this holding capsule, this piece of granite, Bitcoin, might be a good trade for you. I do think that hanging on to Bitcoin to have for your children some amount is a really good idea, and to save for the future. I do not think that you should sell the entirety of your stack to get a home. That's why my price has been, I want to be able to trade no more than half of a Bitcoin to get a home and the land and everything that I love, because that would still leave me with a little bit to be able to do other things and just kind of sit on as a savings thing. Well, at the time, I don't know. Maybe I'd have more. Ideally, that's how I save now. I don't have any sort of savings. It immediately goes into Bitcoin. I think that for people that have a large amount of cash and they're not comfortable doing that, converting it straight into Bitcoin, that River's whole thing where they pay you out in Bitcoin is a brilliant idea. I think businesses should do that. If they're like, oh, well, I don't know, we should put our Bitcoin into this or that, or I'm sorry, not our Bitcoin, our USD into this or that or something, that I think they should look at the River idea, especially if they have some inkling of what Bitcoin is and how it works and the advantages of it. But the way that these two things connect is that there's kind of a sunk cost fallacy to both of these things. And the cost here is time. And I've wondered if the people that are staying with iPhone do so because of the whole ecosystem surrounding iPhone. I will admit that the iPhone and the Mac and their earbuds, not that I have them, but they all do seem, from what I can tell, to play well with each other. These pieces of technology interact with each other really well. They don't interact with humans terribly well. I don't know what that's all about. They're just kind of in the way. They've got bumpers on it. That's how I feel like every time I interact with this stupid hunk of trash that I've got kid gloves on, and I just my fingers are puffy and fat, and I can't do what I want to do. Everything on my OnePlus, even as old as that phone was, when did that phone even come out? I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. OnePlus 7T, 2019. It's a 5-year-old phone, and I love that thing drastically more than this brand new came out 4 months ago piece of fucking shit. That thing was so precise and sharp, and it felt like what I wanted to do did exactly the way I wanted to do it. Ding, bang, that I did it. Felt like working with a scalpel as opposed to a cricket bat. What would you rather have if you're trying to do delicate work? You're trying to use an X-Acto knife or a machete? Yeah. The X-Acto knife? And I think that people, if they get with an iPhone and they're in this ecosystem, they just get stuck. And I think that there's a risk, a very real possibility of people that are so into Bitcoin and have been staying with it for as long as they have that they go, I can't get out now. I've seen when it's done over 4 years, over 8 years, over 12 years. I got in when it was 200. It's 100,000 now. I can't get out. If it goes up to 1 million or up to 5 million, or if what Saylor's talking about in 2045 being $13 million a coin, I can't sell any of this. I have to keep it. Now, you might say, well, no, people aren't going to do that. They will buy the things that they need, and it'll be like Saifedean and plenty of other people in the Bitcoin space has talked about, is it just lowers your time preference drastically. So you go, do I actually need this thing? Do I really? I want it. I'd like to have it. I've wanted it for a very long time. Hell, I've wanted a Corvette, not me, but somebody. I've wanted a Corvette ever since I was a high schooler, and that girl turned me down, and she went out with Jerry the jock, and he had a Corvette. And I don't know if that's why, but I've always had it in my mind that that's why she went out with him, and I've always wanted a Corvette since. My dream car, I don't really have a specific dream car, but some kind of a muscle car. I guess if I had a dream car, it would be, I think it's the Lincoln Continental from The Matrix. Lincoln. Is that what it is? Yeah. I don't even know if that's my dream car. It's cool. It looks neat. I don't know if that's my dream car though. I like it. I don't know. That, maybe some kind of muscle car. That Supra I saw today was really cool. I don't know if I want that. I don't want an electric car, any of the ones that are out right now. But do I want to spend X amount of Bitcoin on a car like that? Not really. I want a car for its utility. I don't care to have a fancy car. I'm not trying to impress girls. The only thing, truly, the only thing aside from a life emergency, some sort of horrific accident where I need the money to pay for the medical bills, that kind of thing aside, the only thing that really comes to mind that makes me go, yeah, okay, that does seem like a really good use of my time and energy, is a home, as a residence. I have lived in, 20 plus different places throughout my life. Multiple homes as a child into my young adulthood, and then as an adult, I'm not going to sit here and count, but it's more than a dozen for sure. And I guess I have memories at all these different places, and some of them I like more than others, sure, but it would be nice to have a place that I go, oh, this is my home. And I own it. This is mine. I live here. And you might say, well, it's never really yours because the land can always be taken away from you by the government. Okay, I know. Look, I know. I get it. But it's more mine than renting from a landlord, and that I think that would feel nice. It might feel like a major burden too. I don't know. I have no idea. I've never owned, but I think with the iPhone, if you have one, try not. Just try not having one. I'm going to be getting rid of this thing as soon as I can. I called T-Mobile about that and was told that I can get out of it if I pay sometime after I think within six, or like once I hit the 6 month mark of being with T-Mobile. And you better believe I'm going into a T-Mobile office the day I hit 6 months and going, what do I do to get any Android phone? Because no matter what it is, it'll be better than this piece of steaming dog shit. My wife too. We both got iPhones. I don't know what we were thinking. We're like, oh, let's try it. Hey, to our credit, we do try things out, and we learned this is not the piece of technology for us. Yes. But as far as Bitcoin, I think every individual has to make his or her choice and go, this is what I'm saving for. This is what I'm looking for. I don't think that the right answer is I'm just going to save to keep on saving so that I can have as big a stack as I possibly can and live out of a cardboard box and eat trash processed food because it's the least expensive thing I can get off the manager's special shelf. But I've got that big Bitcoin stack. I died at 50 super early because my diet and everything, and I was outside in the weather and sleeping in the gutters, but I was able to stack. Okay. I don't think that's the answer. Maybe it is. What's your answer?